They came back about 6-7 hours later and said, we looked everywhere. We went to every house, every shop, every place, every nook and corner, asked for someone like that. Nobody has seen anybody like that. So we sorry, we don't know. So Lord Chaitanya laughed and he said, come with me. He took everybody and went straight to the house of a wonderful devotee by the name of Nityananda. Now what had happened was that the day before this, Lord Nityananda did come to Navadvip and he accidentally met Nandanacharya, who was a wonderful devotee. And obviously Nandanacharya was very impressed, so they started a conversation. And at the end of the conversation, he invited Lord Nityananda to stay at his house. Lord Nityananda went there. And Lord Chaitanya now went straight to the house of Nandanacharya. They went in and they saw Lord Nityananda sitting in samadhi. His eyes closed, meditating upon. Probably Lord Chaitanya. He doesn't say who he was meditating upon. And Lord Chaitanya stood in front of him. So just imagine the scene, Lord Chaitanya sitting down, with eyes closed in samadhi, Lord Chaitanya standing right in front of him. And Rupanuga Thakur describes that who can remain in any kind of samadhi in front of Lord Chaitanya? So very soon, Lord Chaitanya opened his eyes. And he saw Lord Chaitanya. And he stood up, completely stunned. He couldn't move, he couldn't say anything, standing there like a statue. So Lord Chaitanya realized what's happened. So he asked Srivas Pandit to chant a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. And that verse is from Canto 10, text 20, chapter 21, text 5. It says, Bhara Pidam Natvaram Karna Kadikaram, which basically is the same verse you may know was spoken by the disciples of Vyasadeva when they were trying to attract Shukadeva Goswami back to his house. So anyway, so this verse describes how beautiful, how wonderful Krishna is, describes how he's got the peacock feather on his head, he's an expert dancer, he's wearing particular type of flower on his ears, and so on and so forth. Wearing Vajanti Mala. Oh, there you go, okay. I can see what, yeah, okay, that's good, yeah. Anyway, so he describes that. As soon as Lord Nityananda heard that, he started dancing, jumping up and down. He was jumping so high that he thought he was going to go beyond the roof. And crying and fainting and getting up again and crying and making different kind of noises, just went crazy. So then they wanted to stop him because they thought he was going to get hurt. So Lord Chaitanya went and it was not easy to stop him. Finally, he stopped him, embraced him. And Lord Nityananda had basically lost his consciousness. He was resting his head on the shoulders of Lord Chaitanya. And all the other devotees were wondering what's going on. And then somebody said, oh, this looks like Krishna and Arjuna meeting after a long time. Somebody said, no, it looks like Krishna and Balaram meeting after a long time. Somebody said, oh sorry, that's somebody, Gadadhar Pandit. He knew who Nityananda is, just by looking at him. So we'll talk about it in a minute. But like Nityananda is Balaram, and another expansion of Balaram is Anantashesh. Everybody knows Anantashesh? Okay. So Lord Vishnu, Lord Narayana reside using him as a bed. Lie down on him as a bed. So Gadadhar said, you know, all this time the Lord lies down on the bed of Anantashesh. Today, Anantashesh is lying on the bed of God. What a wonderful reciprocation that between the two brothers going on. And then after a long time, Lord Nityananda became a little more steady, and there was some conversation. After that, Lord Chaitanya, just to describe to make sure everybody understands the importance and the tattva of Lord Nityananda, asked Lord Nityananda, so tomorrow is Vyas Puja. So where should we perform that? And Lord Nityananda pointed to Srivas Pandit and said, let's do it at his house. Of course, Srivas Pandit was very happy to do that. He invited everyone to come celebrate Vyas Puja at his house. So in the evening, the Vyas Puja started. And Lord Nityananda became very excited and he took his Balaram mood. which he did, and stood up and started dancing, shouting and making really loud rolling sound. And then Lord Chaitanya got in the same mood and he said to Lord Nityananda, give you a hal and musha, the plow and the club. And so then went like that. Somehow those two things appeared, he gave him Lord Chaitanya. Now they were both dancing and everybody of course dancing for a long, long time. And then Lord Nityananda, again in the Balaram mood, he said, Varuni, Varuni. Anybody knows what Varuni is?
Air.
Alcohol, yes, that's right. It's a liquor. But it's not liquor, it's a juice that comes out of a particular tree, kadam tree actually. And Varun is the demigod of water. His daughter's name is Varuni. She chose Lord Nityananda as a husband, so that's another side of it, but Varuni also means in this context some kind of a liquor. It's basically juice comes out of the tree. So now this everybody says, where are we going to get Varuni from? No way we can get that. So somebody was smart, they brought Ganga, the water from the Ganges, in a pot. They both drank, and they drank as if they were getting drunk on Varuni. And so again, all night was dance going on. And then they stopped and everybody went home. After some time, Lord Chaitanya decided to introduce Nityananda to his mother, Shachimata. So he brought him there. As soon as she saw him, she saw Vishwarup. Anybody knows who Vishwarup is? The older brother who had already left home. And it's not surprising because Vishwarup is also an expansion of Lord Brahma. And so anyway, so she started to treat him just like a son. And then she shared something with them. She said, I saw a dream this couple of nights ago. In the dream I saw that you two, Nityananda, Chaitanya, were 5-year-old boys. And you go into my altar. And Nityananda picks up Krishna's deity, Lord Rupanuga, and Lord Chaitanya picks up Balaram deity. And Krishna and Balaram getting angry, the deities are getting angry. What are you doing here? You're not supposed to come to the altar. This is my area. And Nityananda says, no, it's not. Your time is gone. That was 5,000 years ago. Now it's our time. No more cowherd boys taking over the world. The Brahmins will do that. The other Brahmins will do that. But Ram said, I swear on Krishna that I'm going to beat you up. And Nityananda says, you can't do that anymore because now the Lord is right here, my Vishwamar. He takes care of the whole world. He's going to defend me. So if I come, let's do that. And then they start fighting over Prashadam. So somebody will take one piece, another piece, somebody take it and put his mouth and take it out, put it in their mouth. It's going on. And suddenly, this is the dream. Nityananda shouted, Ma, I'm hungry. His mother, I'm hungry. So she says that my eyes, and there's nobody there. So what does that mean? And I said, you will know in time, don't worry about this. He didn't answer the question. Anyway, so this is how Lord Chaitanya got introduced to Madhurji. And then it was being invited very frequently. But one thing about Lord Nityananda was that he was very mischievous. And I'll come back to that point later on. And he would do lots of mischief at home, at his mother's home. So one day, as Lord Chaitanya went to invite him to his house, he said to Nityananda, you're coming to my house, but please behave. I said, behave? When do I not behave? Well, when do you behave? And then he was going back and forth, and finally, Lord Chaitanya said, I'm really trying to save your reputation. You're grown up now, you are sannyasi, you have to be careful about this thing. It's okay. And they went there. Mother Shachi offered them prashadam on 2 plates, the one for each. Unbeknownst to her, as soon as they got the 2 plates, they produced a 3rd plate. And there was prashadam in the 3rd plate also. And instead of focusing on their own place, they started focusing on the 3rd plate and fighting with each other. So now Nityananda they were fighting for the prashadam. So she says, don't worry about this, I'm going to get more. She goes inside. When she comes out, she sees that no Nityananda is no Chaitanya. Instead, there are two 5-year-old boys with no clothes on, and they're fighting. She said, what's going on? And she got so shocked, she dropped the plate that she was scared of the shot. And she fainted. So then Lord Chaitanya picked her up. After some time she came to her senses, and she says, I don't know what I saw. And Lord Chaitanya says, don't worry about what you saw. We are just your two children. So anyway, so they were having a lot of fun with Mother Sachi also. And as I mentioned, Lord Nityananda was, or maybe I didn't mention, Lord Nityananda decided to live in the house of Srivas Pandit. Now, Srivas Pandit was much older than Lord Chaitanya. So like Nityananda was 12 years older than Lord Chaitanya. Lord Advaita Acharya was about 50 plus years older than Lord Chaitanya. And Srivas Pandit was about the same age as Advaita Acharya. So Advaita Acharya and his wife Malini Devi, they treated Lord Nityananda as their own son. And Nityananda would act like their son also. I mean, he would say, Mata, please feed me. And she will feed him. One, in Hindi, it's a kaur, one bite at a time. And then she'll give him milk. And sometimes he will drink her breast milk. So an older lady, but, he was doing that. And so one day, Lord Chaitanya came to Srivas Pandit and said, I'm not very comfortable with Nityananda living at your house. He's very mischievous and he's probably bothering you and all that. Plus, we don't know what his caste is. Nobody knows. And he behaves strange ways. And Srivas Pandit says, my dear Lord, please don't test me. I know who Nityananda is, you know who Nityananda is. So why are you saying this? Lord Chaitanya said, no, really, you'll get bad reputation. You'll become outcast if you keep him in your house because he behaves so badly sometimes. And Srivas Pandit said, if the whole society makes me an outcast, if everybody throws me out of the city, it doesn't matter, I'm not giving up on Nityananda. So then Lord Chaitanya laughed, he said, okay, that's fine. So then what happened was that one day, Malini Devi was cleaning the utensils that Srivas Pandit had used for worship. So, Aarti and Achman Patra and all these kind of things. And there was a little bowl that she used to use for the ghee wicks. And so she was cleaning it, and the cleaned it, she put it aside to clean the rest of the utensils. And a crow came, picked up the bowl, and flew away with it. She was looking at him, went from tree to tree to tree, and then disappeared. And she started crying. So Nityananda came and said, Mother, why are you crying? She said that the crow came and took away this bowl of ghee wicks that my husband uses for worship. And when he finds this out, he's going to be very, very angry. So I'm really worried that I'm going to get yelled at. And that crow had come back sitting on the ledge of a wall, but no bowl. So Nityananda said to Mother Malini, don't worry about it, I'll get it for you. And she says, where are you going to get it from? So he looks at the crow, he says, Bhaiya, please bring it back. So immediately the crow flew away, brought the bowl back, put it on the courtyard. And so basically, that was the first time I think Lord Nityananda showed to somebody other than the group that they were dancing with, that he was somebody other than just an ordinary person. And so this ordinary person was no ordinary person, as we said. He was Lord Balaram. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Lord Balaram, just a couple of minutes, and then explain about Lord Nityananda. So as we know, Lord Krishna has two immediate expansions. From his left side, the immediate expansion is Radharani. And from his right side, it is Lord Balaram. So then it's explained that there are different kinds of expansions. One expansion is called Prabhav Prakash, which means expansion of Krishna, which is identical to Krishna in every way. And the example is given when the Ras Leela happened. Krishna expanded himself so that he was one Krishna for every two gopis. And anybody knows how many gopis were there approximately?
300,000.
Huh?
Billions.
Yeah, 3 billion gopis. So 1 per 2 gopis, that's 1.5 billion expansions of Krishna. And they were identical in every way, no difference. So that's called Prabhu Prakash. Then you have another kind of expansion called Vaibhav Prakash, which means identical in every way except the complexion. So as we know, Balaram's complexion was white, and his mood was servitor, servant. So Krishna is the master supreme personality of Godhead, and Balaram is servant supreme personality of Godhead. His mood is to serve, and he serves in 10 different ways. He becomes his bed, his umbrella, his house, his sacred thread, his shoes, his ornaments, all the paraphernalias, etc. And then, as if that's not enough, whatever is left, which basically is the glorifying the Lord, he takes the form of Ananta Shesh, and that's why it's called Shesh, which is whatever is remainder in terms of services, he takes that. So in other words, Lord Balaram serving Krishna in any way, every way we can imagine. And that is his mood all the time. And he showed that when he came as Lord Lakshman in the Ram Leela. Krishna was Ram, Balaram was Lakshman. And he obeyed every order, even the order that he did not like. For example, taking Mother Sita and leaving her in the forest. So he did all that. So he always carries that mood. Even when he came as Balaram, he wanted to simply serve Krishna. And he had come as Balaram, as the older brother, thinking that now I'll be able to instruct Krishna, but who can instruct Krishna? So he found out soon that even as older brother, he had to follow Krishna's wish. But his desire to serve did not diminish. So, as you know, there are 5 mellows, right? Shantaras, Dasiras, Sakyaras, Vatsalyaras, and Madhuryaras, right? So in Shantaras, he was serving, as I explained, bed and house and all the company. As Dasas, always serving Krishna. Sakyaras as a friend. Vatsalyaras as a guide. So Mother Yashoda had given him responsibility to protect Krishna. That was his duty. And in Madhuryaras, he expanded himself as the Ananga Manjari, younger sister of Radharani. So in all 5 mellows, he was serving. So when he came as Lord Nityananda, he carried the same mood, same attitude, but still the mood to serve was there in Nityananda, but there were some very major differences between Lord Balaram's mood and activities and Lord Nityananda's. So let's talk about that a little bit to understand Lord Nityananda's tattva. So Lord Balaram was very sober, and he always acted as the elder brother, so none of the mischiefs that Krishna was committing, Balaram would not do any of that. But Lord Nityananda was very mischievous, and I gave you an example before, and there are many other examples where he started dancing like crazy, and even though he was known as Avadhut, anybody knows what the meaning of the word Avadhut is?
One who doesn't follow.
Right, exactly. Who does not follow any rules. So Nityananda was expert at that. She was a real Avadhut. So for example, a sannyasi is supposed to wear saffron clothes, carry a danda, and behave properly, shaved head and all those kind of things. Not Lord Nityananda. He would wear the most beautiful silk dhoti, silk turban, and he would wear all sorts of jewels, amazing, beautiful jewels, and look like a very rich person, and the way he walked, that's not how sannyasis walk. He'll do all that. So much so that I'll give another pastime, that there was a robber who was actually Brahmin, and but his business was robbing other people. So he saw all these precious jewels that Lord Nityananda would be wearing. He decided to collect his group of dacoits and rob him. So they made the plan, and they found out that every night he goes to the house of this particular Brahmin for dinner prasadam and and Kirtan. So they decided one day they are going to go there. So they all got ready, they got their weapons out. They went there and they waited. Sorry, they looked inside and they saw that the Kirtan was going on. So they said, okay, we'll wait until the Kirtan's over, then we'll rob him. So they waited outside. But, Lord Nityananda's pastime, his power, Yoga Maya came and put them all to sleep. So they slept all night. And only when the rooster started crowing and they woke up and saw almost midday. So they ran away from there. They were fighting with each other. Why did you fall asleep? Why didn't you wake me up? Don't you know that we're supposed to do this? Anyway, there were big fights. They said, okay, fine. Maybe Chandi Mata, who's their worshipable god, did not want us to do this, so we'll come back another day. So a few days later, they decided to go back and do the same thing. So they went there, but when they got to the house, they found it's being guarded by about 10 different guards who are 10 foot tall, very strong, all sorts of weapons with them. And they said, what's going on? They figured that maybe because Nityananda is very rich, he's got these guards to guard him. So maybe today's not the day, we have to come back another day. So they went away again. A few days later, they came back. And again, they saw that this Kirtan was going on, so they said, we'll wait. But this time, they all became blind. And Indra got the instruction to start rain, but not ordinary rain. One with the hailstorms and all those kind of things. Now they get hit by these huge pieces of ice. They're running here and there because they were blind, they were falling in the ditch. Somebody fell on a bush of thorns and they're getting stung by the bees and mosquitoes and all that. All night they were suffering like that. Finally, in the daytime, they got their eyesight back and they realized that that's not the person you want to mess with. And the leader also realized that, no, I got to go and apologize. He basically got the inspiration that there's something very special there. So he went to the house where Lord Nityananda was sitting there and he fell flat in the Dvat Pranam pose. I said, please forgive me, please forgive me, please forgive me. And then they said, what happened? So then I told the whole story, everything. And he said, please forgive me, we are very sorry. And then said, no, don't worry about it. It touched him. I said, it touched him, starts chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and dancing and all that. And there was conversion of heart. Anyway, the point was that Lord Nityananda, being an Avadhut, was not following any rules. He also do, all sorts of mischief. Anyway, excuse me. So, when Lord Chaitanya decided to start his movement, he asked his followers to go house to house and preach Krishna consciousness and ask people to chant the holy name of the Lord. He specifically asked Haridas Thakur and Lord Nityananda to go together as a team and go house to house, door to door. That was the first D2D movement where they went to house. Now they were getting different kind of reception. Some people, when they knocked on the door, saw them and said, thank you so much. This is what we were waiting for. They appreciate it, and we'll chant. Some people will say, when you were chanting in the house of Shiva's Pandit all night, we wanted to come and you would not let us. So we don't want to have anything to do with you. So don't tell us to chant. When we wanted to, you did not let us. So go away. And Lord Chaitanya Nityananda would say what we actually sang this morning. Prabhu re agya moi, mange ei bhiksha, bolo Krishna, karo Krishna shiksha. So he will say, please, I have received the order from my Lord to tell you to please chant the holy name of the Lord. Please understand the teachings of Lord Krishna Bhagavad Gita and spend as much time as you can in remembering Krishna. And some people would be favorable, some people will get really nasty. Some people started saying that you are not really here to teach us to chant. You're here to scout this house to see where we got valuable things. And then come back at night with your gang and you'll rob us. So get out. And they were really rude. This is where another difference between Lord Balaram and Lord Nityananda comes. So before I describe what Nityananda did, Lord Balaram, the many passages where he got very angry. The one that's relevant to our discussion today is when the war of Kurukshetra was going to start. Lord Balaram tried to make peace, but he realized that nobody's listening to me. So he decided to leave and go on pilgrimage. And as he was going from place to place, he got to Naimisharanya. And that's where the 80,000 sages were sitting there, performing 5 sacrifices, and then were getting ready to listen Srimad Bhagavatam from a personality by the name of Romaharshan Sut, who was a disciple of Vyasadeva. So they were sitting there, and suddenly Lord Balaram appeared. So everyone recognized Lord Balaram. They got up, they offered their obeisances, and welcomed him. But Lord Balaram noticed that Romaharshan Sut was sitting on the Vyasasana. He did not move, he did not get up, did not offer obeisances, did not acknowledge the presence of Lord Balaram. She got very angry. And he said, you are such a wonderful disciple of Vyasadeva, but you don't have any Vaishnava etiquette. You don't recognize that you should, receive a person. And therefore you deserve to die. And what did he do? He took a blade of grass, kusha grass, and just gently threw at him. That was the end of it. And he left his body right away. So that was the mood of Lord Balaram. When Balaram appears to Lord Nityananda, and now he's being insulted left and right by these people. And what is his attitude? He gets down, offers obeisances to them. And says, please, just once say Hare Krishna. And they'll get even more rough with him. Some actually kicked him. He offers Sakshat Dandavat, Sashtang Dandavat, I should say. Hold their feet. I say, please kick me if you want, but chant Krishna's name once. Like the height of humility was exhibited by Lord Nityananda in the process of chanting, preaching, chanting of the holy name. And they would still not listen. So to those people who simply refused to take Krishna's name, Lord Nityananda said, in his heart he said, my Lord Chaitanya is Krishna. Radha Krishna nahi anya. So Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna nahi anya. So he's Krishna. So if these people don't want to take Krishna's name, they're being offensive against his name, so I have my plan B. My plan B is that Lord Chaitanya is Krishna. He does not take offenses easily. So therefore, even if they're offensive, they'll be forgiven. So then he changed the mantra he was giving to them. And he said, Bhaj Gauranga, Kaha Gauranga, Lah Gauranga Na More, Je Jana Gauranga Bhaje, Se Hoya Amar Pran Re. So he's saying, please chant the name of Lord Chaitanya, Gauranga. And anybody who takes his name becomes my life here. Saying, so dear to me, more dear to me than my own life. You simply chant the name of the Lord. So Lord Nityananda was doing whatever it took, going door to door with Haridas Thakur. But while he was doing all this, his nature of mischief did not change. So Haridas Thakur was much older than also, same age as Lord Advaitacharya. They'll go together, and every once in a while, Lord Nityananda will enter a house and get in his old habit of stealing butter. So he'll go in the house and find butter or some other item of eating, steal it, and run away. Now Haridas Thakur doesn't know what's going on. She's standing in front of the door. And the house will come running after them, not see Nityananda, see Haridas, and start chastising him. They say, I don't even know what happened. What happened here? And anyway, some days, he would see a young girl coming out of the house. And Nityananda would go and propose to her. Hey, why don't you marry her? And she'll get angry and run back into the house to tell her father. Nityananda will disappear. The father comes running out. This is Haridas Thakur. Says, you're so old. Don't you have any shame? You're proposing to my daughter? I said, what? I didn't do that. So anyway, so Nityananda will be playing this mischief on Lord Haridas Thakur, putting him in trouble. So anyway, he didn't stop that his nature, I guess, to do that. And then he realized, Lord Nityananda, that, it's okay, but it's a very slow process that people are not taking to Krishna's name. So if there's somebody who's known to be a real rascal, and if Lord Chaitanya shows his mercy upon him, then people will become convinced and then do what he's saying. So you all know the story of Jagai Madhai, so I will not go into that of detail, but basically, Lord Nityananda Haridas Thakur went against the advice of all the residents of Nadia to Jagai Madhai and told them to chant. Of course, they got very angry, so chasing Haridas Thakur and Nityananda, that they were going to kill them. So they were running for their life, and Jagai Madhai were chasing them. But because they were, not eating great food, so they didn't have a lot of stamina, so they couldn't run very far. And they went back to Lord Chaitanya and told the whole story. And Haridas Thakur complained to Lord Chaitanya, I don't want to go with this guy. He's always getting me in trouble, and today he almost got me killed. So Lord Chaitanya didn't say anything, he just laughed. A few days later, Lord Nityananda said to Haridas Thakur, let's go back to Jagai Madhai. They really need some mercy. And Haridas Thakur said, you go, I'm not going. I said, no, come with them. So anyway, they went. Again, to cut long story short, they went there. Madhai got really angry, took a pot of liquor actually, and hit Lord Nityananda on his head. Broke his forehead, there's blood coming out. And he took another pot, he was going to hit Nityananda. Again, his brother Jagai stopped. He said, no, this is a nice person, you already hit him once, don't hit him. But people went and told Lord Chaitanya, this has happened. So then Lord Chaitanya got very angry. He came running, and he saw blood oozing out of the forehead of Lord Nityananda. And he got so angry, he says, Chakra. So the chakra came right away. When Lord Nityananda saw that, he fell at the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya and said, no, please, not this time. That was last time you did this. This time you're not doing that. You're not killing the demons this time. You're killing the demoniac tendency, the people. So Lord Chaitanya cooled down. And, and Nityananda said to him, actually Jagai saved me. So Lord Chaitanya heard that, he embraced Jagai. As soon as he embraced him, all the 8 manifestations of the Sattvic Vikara, as called, came to him and started dancing and chanting Krishna's name and all that. When Madhai saw that, his heart also melted. He fell at the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya saying, please forgive me also. So Lord Chaitanya embraced him and said, I'll take your sins. And as soon as Lord Chaitanya said that, his body turned black, from molten gold complexion to black complexion. And Lord Chaitanya just chant. So all night they chanted. By the time the night was over, Lord Chaitanya got his old color back, the molten gold color back. And then they went. And then, of course, when people heard that, how much time do I have? Because I could just go on. 8:30? Okay. All right. So I'll finish quickly. And the transformation of Jagai Madhai was such that they gave up, of course, all these things, and they became so humble that on instructions of Lord Chaitanya, they dug out what's called ghat. It's the place where you go to take bath and all that. They stand there. Whoever came, they'll offer obeisances, ask them how they could serve them, apologize, say ask them, serve them, and he'll do whatever service they needed to. They wash their clothes, carry puja samagri for them, all those kind of things. And when people saw that transformation, of course, all sorts of people came into Krishna consciousness. Okay, I'll take the next 5 minutes. Going back to the appearance of Lord Nityananda. So he appeared in a place called Ek Chakragram, which is known as Rardesh also. Interestingly, whenever if you look at the incarnations, they always appear beside some kind of a river, with a Saryu Nadi for Ramchandra, Yamuna for Krishna, Ganga for Lord Chaitanya. But there was no river anywhere close for 100 miles where Lord Chaitanya Nityananda appeared. Again, to show his mood that where there's nobody going to raise the consciousness of people and deliver them, I will go. So he appeared in a place like that. His parents were Harai Pandit and Padmavati Devi. And they were so much into Lord Nityananda, they would not let him out of his sight ever. Wherever Harai Pandit went, he'd hold Nityananda's hand and go with him. You all know the story about how he was doing the pastimes of different pastimes. Okay, so again, he'll do all the pastimes of previous incarnations of Krishna. And people will say, well, how do you know all this? And his answer was, oh, this is from a past lifetime, so I know, you don't have to teach me. We don't know this pastimes. Yeah, that's okay, because I did this, I know. Anyway, so he did all that. When he was 12 years old, a sannyasi came. He was nicely received by the parents of Nityananda, Harai Pandit and Padmavati. And they served him very nicely, stayed a few days. And when he was leaving, Harai Pandit said, is there anything I can give you before you go? And he said, yes, I'm traveling alone. I'm doing all this pilgrimage. I need an assistant. So can you give me your son? Lord Nityananda was 12 years old at that time. Harai Pandit was in a real dilemma. Like, he loved him so much, it was his life. And he had given his word to give him anything he wanted. So what to do? He went to his wife, Padmavati. He said, whatever you wish is okay with me. So Harai Pandit said, okay. So he went to the sannyasi and said, okay, you can take my son with you. So he left. As soon as he left, other people of the town found out. And they loved Nityananda more than they loved their own children. So they were running to say, take my child, leave Nityananda behind. But by then it's too late, they were already gone. Harai Pandit did not eat anything for 3 months. He had slept and he just constantly cried. At the end of 3 months, he left his body. Anyway, Nityananda traveled all over India, Prayagraj, Kashi, and in the south, everywhere, Mathura, Vrindavan. Finally, Nityananda settled down in Vrindavan and he waited for Lord Chaitanya to start his Sankirtan movement before going there. So when he realized that, yes, now the Lord has started his Sankirtan movement, then he traveled to Navadvip Dham, and that's where he started the story. When Lord Chaitanya saw the dream, and he received Nityananda in the house of Nandaraj. So I'm going to stop. A few minutes left. If you have any questions or comments, okay, one of you, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you, Sir Prabhu. Thank you so much for the wonderful class. So I was wondering, so although some people couldn't say Hare Krishna, Nityananda Prabhu asked them to chant Mahaprabhu's name instead. So in that way, is Mahaprabhu's name more potent than Hare Krishna?
So it's not a question of more potent. They're all very potent, same potency. But Lord Chaitanya does not take offense. So with Krishna, we have to worry about committing the offenses. As you know, there's 10 offenses against the holy name. There's 64 offenses against the worship of Krishna. And some of them, I'll give you one that little scary. Wearing blue in front of the deities is an offense. That's what I'm saying, right? So we can't even avoid some of these offenses. And but with Lord Chaitanya, no problem. So he's saying, because you're so offensive, your mentality is so offensive, don't take Krishna's name, take Lord Chaitanya's name. Effect is the same. See, this is another wonderful thing about Lord Chaitanya. You worship Krishna if you're pure. Whose abode do you go to? Krishna. You worship Lord Ram, you're pure, you get your perfection. Whose abode do you go to? Lord Ram. You worship Lord Chaitanya, you get perfection. Whose abode do you go to? Krishna. He's the only one who does that. right? So therefore he's saying, you are offensive, you keep committing offenses, therefore there's no hope for you, but there is hope. In Chaitanya's name and you'll go to Krishna. Okay. Anyone, go ahead.
So the line you just mentioned, you go to Lord Krishna.
Yeah.
So isn't like in Golok Vrindavan, there's also a place where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is
Yes.
still doing pastimes.
Yes.
So is it possible for a soul when he goes back, he can go to both sides?
Yeah, not both sides, but it depends upon your mood. If your mood is, no, I want to be an associate of Lord Chaitanya, then you go, it's called Shvetati, it's around the Golok Dham. That's Lord Chaitanya's about, you go there. But if your purpose is really to serve Krishna, then by worshipping Lord Chaitanya, you go to Krishna. So that's upon your mood. Right? And when you get perfection, there's no two moods, there's only one mood. You either want to go to Krishna or Chaitanya, knowing his Radha and Krishna to combine.
They're both same, right? So
Yeah.
there's no difference. So we can move.
Well, see, this is the Achintya Bheda Bhed. This difference is not difference. So yes, Lord Chaitanya is combined form of Radha and Krishna, but he's Lord Chaitanya, he's not Krishna. So that's the non-difference and difference thing. I don't know if that's confusing or not. But yes, they are same in tattva, but they're still different times, right? Different pastimes.
So what if one wants to go to serve Krishna as well at the same time wants to serve Mahaprabhu?
That's what I'm saying. You get to Krishna by serving Lord Chaitanya, but your mood is to get Krishna. So therefore you go to Krishna. If your mood is to Chaitanya, you go to Chaitanya. So it depends upon your mood, right? Okay, thank you.
So, thank you so much, Prabhu. It was a really wonderful lecture. Prabhu, you mentioned Nityananda Prabhu as, Balaram, or Nityananda also, he came as Ananga Manjari. And I also heard in Mohan Rupa Prabhu's class that Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami is also Ananga Manjari. And sometimes I've seen like there are various descriptions to like somewhere Gopal Bhatta Goswami said as Ananga Manjaris, and then Mohan Rupa Prabhu only was mentioning, and other he was I think mentioned as some other Manjari. So Guna Manjari, yeah.
Yeah, so actually, many of these six Goswamis they're known as combination of two Manjaris. So yes, that's true. So for example, Sanatana Goswami, sometimes you hear, and I always forget, I'm not good with names. The two different Manjaris who say, he said, is Sanatana Goswami. So that's totally possible.
They both can share to like
I don't know how it works. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Oh, it's okay. You can whoever, I think somebody else raised their hands first.
I wasn't finished with
Yes,
it.
yes,
Yes. So what I'm saying is, like for example, Nanda Maharaj, two personalities in one, right? The original Nanda Maharaj, which is eternal, and then Drona, who wanted to be. So Drona and Nanda Maharaj are together in one body. Dhara and Yashodamaya in one body, right? So again, I don't know how it works. And there are many, many examples like that. For example, Raman Rai, Lalita Sakhi and Arjun. So how does that work? I don't know, but that's what the scripture says. I just repeat it.
Also, Prabhu, coming to the same point, Drona and Dhara. Now, I heard it in Amarendra Prabhu's class that after they were done, their pastime was done, they merged back into the original Nanda and Yashoda. So how is this possible? I mean,
I don't know. I'm sorry. That's a mechanism I've not quite understood. How does this work? I don't know. I have no idea.
okay. One last question, Prabhu. You mentioned.
Let somebody else go. Let's have one last.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I prove? I had a reflection to share when you were sharing that Nityananda Prabhu will get used to get Haridas Thakur in trouble. So I had the same experience with Nityananda Prabhu here. We would go to he will call me and say, let's go to distribution, and then we will drive far away somewhere, and then randomly he will say, okay, stop here, and there will be like chicken shops, Muslims,
There was just one van.
yeah. We went like twice or thrice.
Twice.
Maybe thrice. So once there was a chicken shop was, I plead him, please don't go there, please, you will get nothing. So, no, Prabhu, let's go, let's try. So we went there, we found a very pious guy, and he actually sponsored us full Bhagavad Gita box.
Wow.
Oh.
Very cool.
It happened many times, and sometimes he would get me in trouble. We got in trouble many times doing that. And yes, I think it gives me faith that his Guru Maharaj has given me Nityananda. So when a guru give us names, so it has some meaning, it has some potency.
That's wonderful, yeah, that's great. Very good. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you, that was pronounced as a wonderful class.
Thank you.
These are not my words, Prabhu, but like a devotee was telling me very beautiful when I was volunteering, because she said that you were talking about Balram Jayanti, like Nityananda Prabhu appearance. And she said that Balramji manifests as even the bhog that you're giving in a specific plate because he wants to serve Krishna. So I was just contemplating on it, that in life, how do you have that servitorship attitude? Because okay, with chanting and all those anarthas are getting nullified. But when you work or when you go in the secular world, you meet people of all school of thoughts, and then how do you have that patra, that servitorship attitude where you're that bhoga plate where you're just serving?
So, are you asking about when you're doing devotional activity?
No, that
Versus-
I understand. I'm talking in the secular world, how
So,
do
it's,
you have that?
so in the secular world, actually being humble, being modest doesn't work.
It doesn't work, right?
And I'll share with you something that I learned the hard way. And basically, generally speaking, people from India are taught humility is good virtue, and don't boast about yourself, let somebody else, my mother-in-law used to say, don't let the rose say I'm a rose.
Yes.
Other people smell the rose and say, oh, this is a rose.
Yes.
That's what we are taught. So when I came here in Canada, I was working in this place, and I thought I was the best employee there and doing very well. I was getting compliments, this and that, letters of appreciation from clients and everything. But a colleague of mine got promoted, and not me. And I was really angry. What is this nonsense? And the first thing that came to my mind was racism. But I said, no, my boss is not racist. I know him, so it can't be that. So what is it? So anyway, what I did was I collected all those letters that I received and other comments I had. I went to my boss's office and put it on his desk with loud thud and said, I want you to see this.
Right.
So he said, okay, what's going on? I said, how come Carl, what is the name of the guy who got promoted? I'm so much better than him, and you can see all this. She looked at me for a second and he smiled and he says, Carl is in my office every day telling me how good he is.
Right.
When was the last time you came to tell me that? So how do I know?
Right.
And I said, listen, learned.
Right.
From then on, I was bragging every day to him, and I got promoted very quickly after that,
Right.
and then the series continued. So in a secular world, don't be modest.
Right.
In this world, people brag, so you go brag. In the devotional side, you do this humility. Humility is, you get killed if you
Right.
go, so don't do that,
Yes.
right? Prabhupada also used to say, a rose inside and thunderbolt outside.
Hard as a thunderbolt, soft as a rose.
Yeah, that's right. So remember that.
Thank you.
Yeah, your secular world is not for this.
Yes.
There you want to compete,
Yes.
and it's not transcendental competition you want. You want material competition there, because you got to be on both rails,
Yes.
in this life, material and spiritual.
Yes.
Right? How to survive being 100% spiritual
Yes.
in the material world. Either you leave the material world, or if you do it, you have to go there. Okay,
Thank you.
sure.
Finish.
Was there another hand there? Sorry. No? Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Prabhu. You mentioned about the blade of grass also, and we know in Shikshashram Mahaprabhu is seeing us to be more humble than that.
Blade of grass.
But in a lot of bhajans, if we see, they say Dante Trina Dhori Gora or Dante Trina Dhori. In a lot of bhajans, I see like
Yeah.
around 3 or 4. So what does that signify? That signifies?
Yeah, that's a very good question, actually. So, there are two things that the devotee who's saying, and I know which bhajan you're talking about, Gauranga Karuna Karu. Anyway, so who eats grass? Who eats grass? Animals.
Cow.
Cows, yeah, of course. The other animals also eat grass. So by putting the grass between their teeth, they're saying, I'm like an animal. I'm not even a human being. I'm so fallen. I have no qualities of a human being. I don't do worship. I don't study scriptures. I don't understand. I don't have power to discriminate and power to evolve. I'm just like an animal. So please have mercy upon me. So that's one interpretation. That's the humility there. Second is that I'm so bad that even though I have human life this time, but my activities give me animal birth next time. So this grass is indicating that so low that my birth as an animal is guaranteed. Therefore, I deserve your mercy. So that's basically saying that I am the lowest of the lowest human being because I'm not acting like a human being. I'm acting either an animal already or preparing myself to get animal life, animal birth. And that's the indication, and that's the humility. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, that jab will stop now. So I know that jab very well.